Hey guys, last weekend, Zack Snyder's Justice League, after tons of demands on social media, finally released on HBO Max, and we now have the original Justice League movie the way it was intended and the way it should have been. And it marks the 10th movie in the DCEU, and today I'm going to rank all 10 films in the DCEU from worst to best. Without further ado, let's get into this. In case you're new around here, I'm the film fan. I make reviews, rankings, those kinds of videos, top 10s, it's one of those movie channels. If you like that sort of thing, please subscribe if you can. Like my videos. I sound like I'm begging, but just please. Anyways, further ado, why do I keep saying without further ado? Anyways. Coming in at number 10 is Justice League, quote unquote, Justice League. And this is the total mess that is made when you cut 2 hours out of a movie and turn it into just this incoherent mess. Joss Whedon's style does not mix whatsoever with Zack Snyder's. It just doesn't. So when you have Zack Snyder, who's left the project, and you bring Joss Whedon on, he does not work. He is not compatible with this movie, and so all of the Marvel-style quips and laughs and the types of dialogue he adds to this, they just do not fit with this movie whatsoever. And so it just completely falls apart. The backstory behind this movie is gross, and I'm just so glad that we now have the real version of this movie, and so we never have to think about it again. So while there are a few so bad it's good moments, for the most part, this is a total, complete failure. Coming in at number 9 is Suicide Squad. And I believe this was actually my first DCEU movie, and wow, what a great start. Now, this movie isn't all bad. I will say I do like Will Smith and Margot Robbie and their characters in this movie. I think they do a great job here. And there are some flashy visuals that are pretty nice. But overall, this movie just did not know how to mix anything. Just like Justice League, only to a lesser extent, this feels very jumbled and overly edited into a mess. And I don't really feel like anybody is particularly memorable because there are way too many characters and none of them get anything to do. Katana is in this movie and I keep constantly forgetting she exists. Killer Croc, you have Captain Boomerang, you have, I can't remember anybody. There's the fire guy. You see what I'm talking about here. There are so many characters, and none of them are memorable in any way. Because they don't get enough to do. And then the villain is very, very bad, and that whole plot line is just, it feels so generic. And I also really hate the Jared Leto version of the Joker. I just don't know what went wrong with him. So, I'm sorry, but I can't exactly say I love this film. Coming in at number 8 is Batman vs. Superman. Now, this isn't a terrible movie. There are some really good things about it. I love the way the action is done. I think this probably has some of the best Batman action sequences. Ben Affleck's version of the character, you see this more darker and older Batman. I always love portrayals of Batman like this. So it's nice to see that. The cast in general is really good. But this movie is just so once again, like all of the bottom ones here, messy. I hate using that same criticism. That is the truth here. It's trying to be 3 completely different movies. You have a Man of Steel sequel, Batman versus Superman, and then it's a Justice League prequel. And it just does not go together very well. I'm sure the extended version of this movie is a lot better, but I did not see that version, and the one I saw, the theatrical cut, is so rushed, and it has a very typical DCEU finale, and it's just, I really wish I could like this one more, but it does not go together very well. Coming in at number 7 is Wonder Woman 1984. Now, this is probably the most divisive movie in this franchise. There are a lot of people that love this one, a lot of people that hate it, and I've always kind of felt in between, but I lean more towards the negative. I do like that we get to see Steve Trevor and Diana's relationship again. Chemistry between those two is really strong, and you get a little bit more of that. Pedro Pascal is really good. There are some really strong parts of the story, but this movie just requires you to suspend your disbelief for like every single plot beat, and I'm not even just talking about logistical problems like the plane pilot World War I thing. I'm not only talking about that, but just with character motivations and with plot beats in general. You just really have to suspend your disbelief that any of this could happen and be set in the same universe as the rest of the franchise. And especially when you get to the ending, there are so many plot holes in this thing, and I usually don't mind plot holes, but when there's so many of them stacked on top of each other, it just creates for a movie where you feel like you are just going, okay. And I know the complaint I'm going to be getting in the comments is, oh, okay, but Josh, it's a movie about a Amazonian princess wearing red and blue with light rope and an invisible plane. I know I'm going to get people saying that, and yeah, that is very true, but there has to be some sort of logical consistency, and that is not a thing in this movie. Coming in at everything before here, I would give a negative review to, but from here on out, everything is positive. Coming in at number 6 is Aquaman. And what this movie does best is it just leans in to the craziness of this character. It's very campy, it's very goofy, but I love that about this movie. It embraces all of it and just has a good time. Part of what makes it work is the very good cast. Of course, you have Jason Momoa, Willem Dafoe, Nicole Kidman, so on. There's a lot of great actors in this movie that all add to it. There's also a sort of Shakespearean feel to it at times, or not, you know what I mean. So many movies do the big royal drama story. This is one of those, while also having a sort of Indiana Jones adventure, and the visuals are really great for this movie. It may not be the most original or fresh movie in the genre, especially in the year it came out. It's very derivative of other comic book movies that came out the same year, but it promises on giving you a good time and it delivers on that. So I've always had a really good time with this one. Coming in at number 5 is Shazam. And like Aquaman, this is a movie that just embraces the fun side of these characters. It has such a fun concept, and it's a lot more lighthearted, and the characters are so much more endearing in this one. And usually I'd be saying that as a negative thing for a DC movie, but that is not the case here. It has a really strong theme of family to it as well that is present throughout the whole movie, and it's something that I wasn't exactly expecting to be so front center in this one. And it's just a really good time of a movie. If you haven't seen Shazam, just what are you doing with your life? Go watch it. Coming in at number 4 is Birds of Prey. And I heard lots of mixed reactions for this one, but I had a feeling I was really going to like it, and I was absolutely right. This is a non-stop, energetic movie. Harley Quinn is a great lead in this one. She just looks at the world in such a weird and strange way, as it leads to a lot of comedic scenarios. And the villains are really good. I love the aesthetic to this one with the vibrant colors. And there's a really cool action sequence. Several really cool action sequences. One of my favorite ones is when she breaks into the police station, you get her shooting confetti at people. There's a lot of really fantastic stuff like that. And it's just all so weird and strange, yet it all works so great. It has a sort of non-linear structure to it, which is pretty cool. Sometimes it was a little confusing, and I will say it is a little frustrating that in a movie called Birds of Prey, the Birds of Prey are barely in it, but, you know, at least we have a really fun criminal underworld Harley Quinn movie, and I'm satisfied with that. So, coming in at number 3, so bringing us into top 3 is Wonder Woman. And I believe this was actually the superhero movie that kind of got me into this genre, as it just tells such a compelling story. And it has, once again, like some of these movies here at the top, an awesome aesthetic to it. With World War I, the action is really cool in the way it's stylized. I love the chemistry between Steve Trevor and Diana. The score is very energetic. And my sister actually uses it as her ringtone, so I hear the do-do-da-da-da-da-da all the time, and it always gets me. And I do think it loses some steam as it gets into the third act, but that doesn't ruin the movie for me. There's just such a charm to it, with such a great protagonist, great characters in general, some really cool sequences, a fantastic setting, so it all leads to one of the better movies in this franchise. Coming in at number 2 is Man of Steel, so our runner-up. And I had low expectations when going into this movie. My friends weren't exactly a big fan of it. It was one of the more mixed received movies in the franchise. I've said movies in the franchise at least like 5 times in this video. But what this movie does so well, and why I was so surprised by it, is it has such a compelling story about someone finding what their purpose in this world is and choosing it. There's just such a strong story and character arc here that is executed extremely well. And of course, you have the Zack Snyder action sequences. General Zod is really great in this movie. I actually prefer this version of the character over the one in Superman 2. He is like the complete opposite of Superman, and it creates a really strong climax. I don't know if this is a fully perfect movie. I've definitely seen some valid criticisms of it. I do wish they could have maybe fleshed out the relationship with Clark and Lois a little bit more. In general, I think the movie is kind of weird in the way it's structured, but I still really dug this one, and I was absolutely surprised by it. But coming in at number 1 is Zack Snyder's Justice League. And this was a movie that I was just so excited to see, and I absolutely think it delivered on the promise. The concept inherently of just a movie like this existing in the first place is awesome to me. Like, that is the coolest thing that has ever happened, and this movie delivers on it all. It all feels like one coherent vision. Nothing feels out of place or weird. Every single scene matters. Everything ties together. It is all just so well crafted. It's because one filmmaker's vision was able to completely shine without any obstructions whatsoever. And so it creates for one of the best films in the genre. It does a fantastic job with the characters, the villains. I'm literally just going to mention Wonder Woman because Leanne got mad at me for not mentioning her in my review. But all of the characters, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, Batman, Flash, all of them are improved in this movie. Everybody is great in this one. There is not a single thing inside of this movie. The emotion, the humor, the heart, the characters, the story, the pacing. There is not one single thing that isn't better than the theatrical cut in this movie. Not a single thing. Even the pacing, the runtime, the 4-hour runtime goes completely past you. It is absolutely a great movie and the best of this franchise, and one of the best DC movies. So I am absolutely happy this exists, and I want to thank everyone who got this movie into existence. Thank you so much. Hallelujah. And that is it for my video today. Let me know what you guys thought of my ranking. If you could, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Letterboxd. I'm going to try to do more content like this. And let me know what you think. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!